Liv here, and today I am doing the VR to I believe Mag's Black, and this is the five my five deep dive decks. I something like that. The tag is something like that. Anyway, so this is kind of a follow on to the previous tag I did, which was my my top five sharpshooters, I believe was the name of that one. And so this is kind of like the opposite of a sharpshooter. This is more a deck that maybe I need the guidebook more, or there's something I can dive deeper into the deck with. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not sure I fully have a full understanding of what this really means to me, you know. So because of that, I had a bit of a trouble. I had some trouble picking out the decks. There were a few that I picked out that I was like, yes, this is definitely a deep dive deck, because this is the kind of deck where it's maybe I'm learning about this particular type of tarot. So I'm not as, it's not as intuitive to me, and I don't have the knowledge base there. So it requires me to have the book, or I can't just do a reading and then, like, you know, get my answer like a sharpshooter deck would be. It's more of a, I need to do the reading and sit with it for a long while to really get a better understanding of what it's telling me. So that's kind of how I interpreted that. But some of the issue with that is that you know, I feel like some of my newer decks, the ones that I haven't really fully bonded with yet because they're so new to my collection, these are what's in my pile here. Well, some of what's in my pile. And two of these decks are actually older decks. And I am cheating a little bit with this tag. It's my top five, and I actually have 6 decks here because I kind of put 2 of them into the same category. So yeah. So anyway, let's just get started. Okay, so my first one here is, and this is the bag I made for it, and I gotta say, this is like my favorite bag that I've made so far. It's just so cool and quirky and really fits with this deck, and that is the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. And this is a new deck for me, and this is basically why it's in this category, because there's something, you know, yes, it follows Rider-Waite-Smith, but I feel like it deviates a little bit, and it's just the kind of deck that I feel like I need to do extra study with, if that makes sense. I may not fully, let me move this out of the way. I may not fully get everything it's telling me, and this is a very interesting interpretation of the 3 swords there, but yeah, I feel like this is something that I just need to do a deep dive with. And yeah, I mean, in general, I feel like I could get this, and maybe it could eventually be a sharpshooter. I don't know, but it just, I feel like, and I really like this 10 of Swords too. That's really cool. I just feel like I need to do a deep dive with this. So and this whole tag, the top 5 deep dives, I feel like this is something where the decks that I pick for this will change frequently over time. So some of these I think might stay in this category, but like this one right now is currently in this category primarily because it's new. The images are new to me, and I just feel like there needs to be a deep study with this. And I realized, I think yesterday or the day before, something like that, when I was looking through this deck, I feel like this deck really makes me think of my oldest child. The energy of this is just, and it's not like she's a fiery person. It's not that. It's just, I don't know. There's something that really makes me think of my oldest child with this deck. And a lot of it is the colors, because her favorite color is orange. Yeah, and this is my favorite card in this deck, the Hermit, and I really tapped into this card when I did this, the bag for it. Yeah, because my oldest child, you know, this is slightly personal, but my oldest child is transgender, and there's I feel a lot of that energy in this deck, if that makes sense. Um, Her pronouns are she, her, so um, yeah. But I just maybe the characters sort of make me think of her. There's there's just something to it that with this deck that makes me think of my oldest child. Yeah. Anyway, and maybe there's the whole cosmic feeling to it, with all the oranges that really make me think of her. I do feel like in the future, if I ever do reading specifically about my oldest child, I might go ahead and use this deck. I don't know. We'll see. It's just the feeling that I was getting from this when I was going through it the other day. Anyway, so that is the Cosmic Slumber. All right. So the next deck is actually, I have two decks here that are tied, and this is where I'm cheating in the tag, because I feel these two decks are very similar, and they're both new to me, and that's why they're part of this deep dive thing, because they're so new to me that I feel like I haven't quite gotten the hang of them yet. Plus, there's something deeper about these two decks. They're both Rider-Waite-Smith clones, sort of, but there is something deeper about them that I feel like I would need to go deeper. So let me pull these out. I did not make this bag. This is the bag that came with this deck. I may make a new bag. I don't know, or I'll just keep it in this. And this one is the Pagan Pagan Otherworlds. And this one, and this is a deck, or a bag that I made specifically for this deck, and I love it. This is such a beautiful bag. And this is the Anima Mundi Tarot. So both of these have the same sort of energy for me. And that's why, like, initially I just had the Pagan Otherworlds in this, but then, yeah, I was just like, you know, I get the same sort of feelings from the Anima Mundi Tarot, so I'm going to put both in here. And I have not opened the seal yet for this, the Pagan Otherworlds. So I just open it from the bottom here. There we go. All right. So these two decks, I feel like they're very similar. They both have a similar energy. And I'm going to try not to bump the camera, but I'm going to stand up here. That's why the sound is probably a little different now that I'm right next to the camera. But there's something... In fact, actually, let me do it this way. There's something very deep about these images. Like, both of these decks feel like grown-up decks to me, if that makes sense. I feel like these, I wouldn't, while both are very Rider-Waite-Smith clones, or, you know, they're obviously in that style, there's something, like, they don't feel like sharpshooters to me. They don't feel like decks that I would pull out to get a quick answer. They feel like decks that I would have to sit with for a while and really get to know, if that makes sense. And this one's very Pip. They're both very Pip, actually. But they kind of have kind of that Pips with feelings sort of thing, where they are Pips, but there is a bit more going on. It's not just... the Pips are mimicking the RWS meanings, if that makes sense. Yes, very. I love these two together. They both have the same feel to me. I feel like the Anima Mundi Tarot is like a combination of the Pagan Otherworlds and the Wild Unknown. It's like if those two decks had a baby, it would be the Anima Mundi Tarot. And I absolutely love these. I'm gonna just grab a whole bunch more here. Both of these decks are just beautiful, and I had to put them in the same slot in this. So yes, I am cheating with the tag since I technically have 6 decks here. But yeah, this is both of these card decks are very new to me too. So that's another reason why I have them in this tag, because you know, I'm going to have to do deep dives with these because they're new and I haven't really gotten that connection with them yet fully. So I need to do deep dives with them, and I feel like in general, even though they're both kind of RWS clones here, there's something deep about both of these decks, something very grown up, if that makes sense. Whereas the previous deck, the Cosmic Slumber, I wouldn't say that's very grown up at all, but there's something deep with that deck as well. All right, so I'm going to stop flipping through these and we'll go on to the next deck. All right, so the next deck, and in fact, these next two decks are actually I have a similar reason for picking these two. And the first one here is, this is a old bag I made of this, but let me see if the camera can pick this up, because this is like a Baroque skull here. This is the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. So there's Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. There we go. And excuse me, these are the extra cards. So this deck I've had for many years. Excuse my throat here. So I've had this deck for many years. And the reason I put this in my deep dives is for the same reason as the next deck. I want to know more about the stories that it's being told in these cards. I mean, this is a very dark, kind of wintry deck. Like, it's ghosts and spirits, so you'd think it would be a Halloween deck. But for me, this is like, I get like ghosts of winter, ghosts of Christmas past sort of feelings from these cards. And the stories in each of these cards are something that when I do readings with this deck, I have to spend some time to really delve into these stories, because it's not just, you know, reading the Queen of Cups. I need to know like what the story is. And like, let me in fact look that up. The Queen of Cups here. Okay, so the Queen of Cups here, this is Groa, mother of Spipnag. Okay, so it's a Norse thing. So, and I wouldn't have ever gotten that from just this image. And that's kind of what I mean about this is I want to read what it has to say. Like, it has a story with it, along with a divinatory meaning. So the Norse hero Zvipnag, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, summons his dead mother Groa from the underworld. Desperate for her wise counsel, he tells her he must go through giants and fire to retrieve the fair maiden Mengloth. Sorry about my reading. I'm not wearing my glasses right now, so a trial put forth by his malevolent stepmother, Groa agreed to help and enchants 9 charms, each providing protection from the dangers ahead. With the assistance of his dead mother, Zvipnag prevails and wins Mengloth as his bride. Groa levitates with the full glow of maternal power. Her cup is oversized and close to her heart, symbolic of her copious love and maternal devotion. And the divinatory meaning, a loving, protective female presence, will help you to connect with your intuitive feelings. She may also assist you in eliminating obstacles that may be hampering you. So, like, this is something that I wouldn't get just by looking at the image. I wouldn't know that was Groa from a Norse myth. Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean with this deck, is that there's so much meaning with these cards. It's not just the Four of Wands, it's also the story behind it. And that's why this deck and a lot of and my next deck, why they're deep divers. So in fact, I'm going to just go through the last few bits here and then switch to that. So here's the Six of Cups. I mean, that's a very haunting image. And yeah, and this is definitely a deck that I would put, even though it's dark and you know, mysterious, and a lot of people might give it a Halloween sort of feeling, or Samhain feeling. This, because of maybe all the colors, that kind of looks like a Golem, but because of that, I think this is very wintry. I mean, especially this card, that's so wintry. So I would pull this deck out. If I was going seasonally, I would pull it out in Yule. Anyway, all right, so let me get the next deck here. Okay, the next deck here, I don't actually have a bag for. Eventually, I'll make a bag for it. And this is the Sacred Sites Tarot, and this is out of print. So I'm sorry to say this is out of print. This is by Los Scarabeo. Yes, I in fact even tried to look for this deck again so that I could get a newer copy. But it is sadly out of print. Yeah. So, yeah, so this deck, I'm going to stand up again so that we can see. Here are the backs. It's got a globe on it and some kind of tribal designs. And I did edge it in a water-based marker. It was a metallic water-based marker, but this really rubs off on my hands, and you can really see it in the box too. It's all blue. So, and I didn't do a super great job because you can see where it bled a bit. So anyway, so this deck, same sort of issue with the previous deck. It's we've got, here I can tell this is the Eight of Cups, and it is represented here by, I think, the Ganges River. And so it's basically sacred sites throughout the world. And I really, really love this deck. Less so for actual readings, but it's very much a study deck for the same reasons as the previous deck, because there's stories with each one. And here's Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, so it's there's a lot that I'm missing by not having, by not knowing what the story is. And in fact, I was thinking about possibly getting this reprinted, just for myself, and printing the words or the name of the place on it, so I know what I'm looking at when I look at these cards. So I think this one is in Ireland, and I don't remember what each, because the symbols, I think this is the King of Swords. The symbols, instead of doing all the languages like Los Scarabeo usually does, they just did a symbol for each. And I think this is the swords. Here we go. And this is the ruins of Glastonbury. So not Ireland. This is in England. So yeah, the ruins of Glastonbury, England. Here is where Christian mysticism and Celtic New Paganism meet. It is identified with the legendary island of Avalon. So that's what it was representing here, the Isle of Avalon. And the little white book here gives you hardly anything. So it's something that I would even have to crack open different books to really find the connection to what it's saying here. And oh, the sun card, this is so pretty. I just want to look this one up because I think I know what this is, but I just want to make sure. This is the Teotihuacan, Mexico. So during its moment of splendor, this was the largest city on the American continent. Its name means the place where men become gods. So, I mean, very cool. The book really does not go in great detail. it's like a little sentence for each, and it's a very superficial sentence too, because some of these I'm just like, all right, I'd rather just look into each of these places. Like, I feel like this is in Ireland, because I think this is St. Patrick, but I feel like you know, this is this is the kind of deck for like history buffs, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much to this, and the little white book is practically useless. It's only there to tell you what the place is, basically. But yeah, so this is definitely a deep dive deck, because I kind of have to deep dive it. Here's the Easter Island. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a very, very fascinating deck. Beautiful art, so much detail in each card. I actually really, really like this deck a lot. It's just that I feel like I need to have the name of the place on it to really get an understanding, so I can do a better deep dive of this deck. And yeah, and the book is no help. So, oh, those like terracotta soldiers or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I mean, I could check real quick, but oh, that's the asteroid that hit in Siberia, I believe. Yeah, I see, and this is the thing with this deck. I get so curious about each card. So the Nine of Wands was no, that's swords. The Nine of Wands was the mausoleum of the Qin Emperor in China. This is the tomb of the Chinese Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi. Terracotta warriors seem to still guard their ancient lord, once the most powerful man in the world. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses, so. So yeah, the terracotta soldiers there, and then the Three of Swords. Yeah, Tunguska, Siberia. In 1908, there was a tremendous explosion that knocked down 60 million trees. Even today, there is still no convincing explanation for this mysterious event. So I mean, the books, you know, write up little sentence is very superficial, and yeah, but so the book for it is kind of terrible, but yeah, this is a great deck, and I just, yeah. Oh, and see, the tower is this is Nazi Germany, so I mean, that could be a very tough card for some people. So if you ever have a chance to get your hand on this deck, be aware that there are some troubling cards like that in this deck. And the Fool card here is very cool. All right, anyway, enough talking about the Sacred Sites Tarot here. And I'm getting a little bit of the blue on my hands again. All right, so the final deck, this is this bag here, and this bag I made. It's lovely, but it's way too big for the deck that I made for it, so I'm actually going to adjust it. This back, I knew it wasn't going to reach, and I was fine with that, but now that I know that this is way too big for this deck, I'm actually going to take this bag apart and bring this all the way over here to really make this bag much smaller, because it does not need to be as big as it is. And this deck is the Yonasa Yaus Tarot. This is the 5th edition. I gotta be careful popping this open. There we go. So this deck is in this slot, in this category, as my top pick too, because it is my only Marseille deck. I actually didn't even realize it was a Marseille deck before I bought it. I just loved the images and the color palette too, because this is the 5th edition, which is like greens and like kind of a light lilac color. And it's such a stunning, beautiful deck. But it is a Marseille deck, and it's not pips. It's yeah, the minor arcana are not pips, actually. They are scenic, but they and it is in a different language here. But the images that it shows doesn't stand up to my understanding of tarot meanings. and that's mostly because I don't know. I mostly know RWS. That's a system I am very knowledgeable about. I know almost nothing about Marseille, and so this is a Marseille deck, and I feel like, and because it's my only Marseille deck, it's something I really need to study before I could fully understand. Like, and I'm not sure this would ever really be a sharpshooter kind of deck. This would be kind of like the Pagan Otherworlds and the Animal Mundi. There's something deep about this deck. So it's, yeah, yeah, it's just, a lot of the, symbolism in these cards I don't fully understand. It's something that I would just need to. This is the most RWS looking image here. There's no heart, but like, yeah, that one I could tell is the Three of Swords, or the Tres de Espadas. So yeah, this is definitely a deck that I would have to study. I couldn't just pull this out and have a quick reading. This would have to be something that I have to plan some time and pull out some cards and really sit with for a while and research and understand the Marseille definitions or the Marseille interpretations. And yeah, this is definitely the kind of deck that I would have to journal with. So yeah, so that is my top 5, or in this case, top 6 deep dive decks. There we go. So let me pull them all out and have them on camera. And okay, so here we go. We have the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. Then tied for the next spot, the number 4 slot, is Pagan Otherworlds and Animal Mundi. And then we have the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, the Sacred Sites Tarot, and finally the Yonasa Yaus Tarot. All right, so thank you so much for watching, everyone. I look forward to doing the next tag. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe I'm going to do the Only 10 Decks, or the 7 Deadly Sins tag. I don't know. We'll see. All right, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.